ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, told her if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what, told ya I'ma do me, why you hating on me, it's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck, country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Marie coming to your hearing, and I have my two special, beautiful guests tonight. But before I introduce them, I would like to give a shout out to Mr. Hall, who allow us to come on and just share our stories and give us this safe space without any judgment. And I would like to thank AB for coming up with Incarceration to Incorporate, and my co-host in his absence, Mr. Julius Campbell. So I want to introduce the fabulous Miss Dina and Miss Lisa Gus. How you ladies doing tonight?
Hey Marie, we're great.
Hey girl.
Hey Miss Lisa. So tonight we're going to be talking about changing the narrative. What is it about changing the narrative for returning citizens? They say that the word recidivism, that a person who has been incarcerated within the 3 years, they will go back to prison. But I'm here to say that is not the case. Given Dina, OAA, Alabama, and Miss Lisa Gus, I'm going to allow them to share their own stories and to tell their own testimonies. But for me, Marie, I know that I was incarcerated 18 years ago. So if they say recidivism within the first 3 years, you will be returned back to prison. No, ma'am, that is not the case for us. We are very successful. Successful how? Entrepreneurship. We are successful in marriage. We're successful. And look at Miss Lisa. She was once, I'm going to let her tell her own story, but she is a phenomenal woman. So Miss Lisa, take it away. Give me your name and your, what is your affiliation to incarceration?
Well, hi, I'm Lisa Gus, and my affiliation was incarceration is well, I was in prison with a 99-year sentence, and I did 25 years. And I got out in 2009, and it's 2023. I've been home 13 years. And I believe that those 13 years, because I changed my people, places, and things.
I like that.
I cannot do the same thing I used to do when I first walked in that back gate. And when I left out the back gate, I was changed. And so I had to put that incorporation out here. So what I did was I got with people who was going somewhere that I didn't know how to go, so I could be something different.
I love that.
So what I did was I was in Texas for a year with my mentor. She was telling me to do things that it didn't fit right with me because she didn't know the dark side. She only knew the light side. But see, the dark had came to the light, and I had already been to the dark side, so I knew not to mess with the pyramid game and all that. So what I did was I couldn't get no job. Nobody would hire me. And so I went to school, and then I went back to Birmingham to see my son graduate from social degree. And when I came back, I had braids in my hair. I was totally different, and she just really felt some type of way. And what I feel that she felt because of who I am as a Black woman. She was a Caucasian woman, and she just didn't know how to handle that. She only handled that when I was in prison. She come to visit me. So I went back again, and my son was getting his bachelor's degree. Mm-hmm. And when I came back, she just felt like she said that I wasn't, she didn't understand who I was, and the things that I was doing wasn't right. So she told me, she gave me a certain time to leave, and then I was out on the street homeless. So 25 years in prison. Now I have a car, which, they gave me a car, not them, but the church gave me a car. And So she told me a certain day to get out, and I got out. And so I'm in my car homeless, and I went to the church and told the church what was going on. So they put me up in a mansion, and I'm not like. And when I say a mansion, I was up in a mansion. You know, the queen has to have her mansion, so they put me up in a mansion, and I was going to school. And the lady wanted to charge me, and I told her I didn't have a job. She said only thing she wanted me to do is be focused on school. But next thing I know, my parole officer sent me back to Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. I got to Birmingham, Alabama, and my no one would help me because they said I had been out for a year. But
wow.
the guy from Texas got with Deborah Daniels on OAA and told her about me. She came and picked me up, and I've been with OAA since.
Very good.
I was really nervous, and I went through a lot. You know, the transition from prison to there to here, and they were talking my language, and I could understand them, and I felt safe where I was with them. So I did job and working at Taco Bell, and I was consistent, and I was just being who I am in my everyday life with people. I went to church, I went to NAAA, I went to sections that were going to help and strengthen me. There was a new place for me. I just did what I had to do.
Lisa, okay, I want you to hold your story right there for a second for me, right? And I want Dina to have a chance to come in and introduce herself and just tell me a little bit how she's her affiliation with Incarceration, and then we're gonna come right back to you, Miss Lisa, because I know you have. I love your service. What I want to know after I come back to you is, it threw me when you said the lady didn't understand you. Your mentor, the one that. Yeah, when I come back to can you explain that to the people, because I just don't understand why she didn't understand you. But Dina, can you please tell me your name and your affiliation to Incarceration, ma'am?
Hey, I'm Dina Dickerson. My affiliation to Incarceration is that in 2002 I was sentenced to 114 years for a nonviolent offense, where I went in one person and I tell people I came out another. They say, well, you got a borderline personality disorder, and that's not the case. I truly wasn't the woman that went into the prison that came out of it.
Right. Okay, seem like we're gonna have. Do we have to take a break, Miss Hall? I hear. Oh, anyway, just avoid it. Go ahead, Zena. You can talk.
Okay. So, going in and the narrative started playing then, because I think you were saying the topic was going to be on changing the narrative. Let's discuss the narrative. Let's discuss the one that's been playing and the one that we've come to believe ourselves after hearing that song for so long. One was we wasn't anything, we were being mistreated and all of that. And so during that 10 years of incarceration, the only thing that I knew is that I didn't want to be the lady that went in the back gate to come out of it, right? And so even after being demonized and being treated, as a different segment of the population, even when people would come inside, we're being conditioned psychologically. They would tell us to turn to the wall because people from the free world was coming in. And so I was taking all of that in, unbeknown to me. It wasn't until I exited the place after I self-educated myself, because I wasn't allowed to take any rehabilitative classes. Their reasoning was because I had did enough time. I had a long time to do. So I had enough time to take classes. It just wouldn't be right now, in short, to paraphrase what they had said. So at that moment, there was a sense of hopelessness there. What you mean? Like, there's no hope for me. There's, like, you just... You know something is wrong, you don't know what it is. So, with that being said, just self-educating, reading books, doing things, as Lisa herself had mentioned, needed help with my alcoholism and all of this stuff. Unbeknown to me, that on top of some childhood trauma was the thing that actually had been driving a lot of my decision making.
Dina is tuning in and out. Well, Miss Lisa, I want to ask you.
Even the statistics on you know, how long it would be before we go back. I can remember the same statistic as it related to my alcoholism when I was inside of a treatment class. That they say that 2 out of 3 of us would relapse, and I said no, it won't be me, you know. And I felt the same way about incarceration, right, and being reincarcerated. And so that's one of our quests. That's one of the things that we really build upon here at OAA, is how easy that we can help each other and reduce the recidivism rate, because that's what people go on. That's what they've come to believe. We know that we may have done some of the stuff that people have said that we did in order to get what we had gotten. However, that's not who we are. It's just something that we did. And so at any given moment, we can change that. But we only change that in our belief within ourselves, as well as our action going forth. And what we do is we try to spread that love as deep as we can, as often as we can, to as many as we can.
Exactly. So Miss Lisa. Hi, Miss Lisa. Can you please answer that question for me? Like when you said that she treated you different from when you was in prison than when you came home, like she couldn't handle the Lisa you was when you came out of prison?
Yes, one of the things she said when I was in prison, the only thing she really felt fun about it, because I was so strong-willed. You know, I had a strong mind. I was confident. I was who I was. And she was afraid that she would say something that I would not agree, which did happen. And what she did was, it was a spiritual thing that had went on. And she said that because I didn't adhere to what they wanted me to do, I wouldn't do it. And that's why I said she didn't know me in that way, because she said that I wasn't the woman that she thought I was spiritually. But what it was an excuse to let me go based on I would not do what they want me to do spiritually.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is something else.
Yes, that's what it was. And then when it all boiled down, that I did get out, and I stayed in contact, and we still in contact today, because I knew that she didn't know what she was saying and what she was up against with the woman that she was up against with for spiritually. But like I said right today, that I'm going to try to take a trip to go see her and her husband and continue, because me getting put out wasn't a bad thing. Me getting put out was a good thing. It was a beginning of a good thing for me to move into the thing that I need to move in, because I wasn't growing there.
So Miss Lisa, because you were once on drugs, I would like to ask you a question, and it's concerning my daughter. She is I have a daughter. She is 26. And like I told you before, my daughter, for people to think that people just do drugs, my daughter she's educated. She has a degree in behavior analysis. She even helped me through college. And one night she went to a party with her cousin, and I guess he introduced her to pills. And then from pills, she started she's doing something else, because her hair and everything has come out. And so I have never been on drugs. So I want to know, and I have tried to take her to facilities where to assist to get her to help. But because she is an adult, this is what they said, because she is an adult, there's nothing I can do. One night I locked her in my car. I'm going to tell you this. I locked her in my car, and she called the police on me. And so when the police came, he told me, he said, I understand that you are her mother, but she is an adult. And if I was to do it again, he would arrest me. And so I told him, I said, well, say if she go out and something happens, she take the wrong drug, because what is that drug they're putting? Fentanyl. And so she get a hold to the wrong. I said to my daughter, she dies. And he said, well, I hope it don't come to that, man. But he said, at this point, you cannot do that. I want to take her to the hospital to get her help. But because she is an adult again, he said there's nothing he could do, and there's nothing I can do at that point. So what suggestion would you give mothers, not just me, because I know it's other mothers out there that is crying for their adult children that needs the help? What word of encouragement would you give them?
First of all, You got to pray because it's beyond your power. You need a power greater than yourself to help you. You see what I'm
That
saying?
is
Because
true.
see, you're turning down as an adult, showing you that you don't have power. It's showing that you have no control over this situation. So when I don't have control, I relinquish my control to a God of my understanding, which is my high power. And what I said to him, I asked God to help me and put people in my life so I can help her and to change her heart, to change her mindset, because that's what's gonna have to change for her not to do drugs. It's got to be her decision, not your decision.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And you as a mother, you feeling the right thing. You feel it and you want the best for her, but you got to realize she is an adult. Adult makes their own decision, not mama making the decision for the adult. And that's a hard pill to swallow because you have not released her. You trying to keep her based on what you done heard, and you're not trusting in the power greater than yourself to save her.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, only thing I'm saying is you got to constantly keep praying, because not only did that happen to me, it happened to me as a parent. But what I did was I loved him in spite of the pain that I went through with him. Because if she's continued being in your house and she continued doing drugs, it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Don't let the lie tell you that, because drugs make you do things. Only way it get better, she said, Mama, I'm ready to get some help. I turned myself in. I run the doorbell because I knew if I stayed out there on the street, I would have died. I was ready for change.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I just want to encourage them. You can take them to the hospital. You can take them to the rehab. They got to be the one that want that help. They got to open themselves up to receive the help.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But you can lock her up. You can keep her in the house. You know, that it's not going to hold her. You know, because I'm telling you, it's only make your brains to think of ways to get out the house, think of ways to use you, think of ways to keep on using, because that's where I was. I lied, I cheat, I stole. I lied, I cheat, I stole. I didn't used to steal. I was a good girl. But when I put that substance in me, it made me to be something else. And the craving that I need for more caused me to do things that I would have never done. So I can feed the habit that I had happened in, that it's took over my life. And not only I realized it wasn't me just using the drugs, it was the trauma that was inside me.
That's right.
The stuff that I was suffering with that caused me to use drugs.
Once I
put it in, it deactivates something inside me was already there. So when I got out drugs, I had to go back in and to deal with those issues and those traumas so that I won't go back to using the drugs again. So
I like that.
That's no problem with me because I don't have them same issues. But that's got to be the choice of her to want it done. Just realize ain't nothing you have done.
Right.
What's just going on with her? Because
you know, like you said, Miss Lisa, I understand you saying like, she have to have the mind to want to do it. And like, I know I probably get on her nerves a whole lot because I taught her like repeatedly, like repetition. I'd be like, when you going to shake yourself? Like, when are you going to come out of this? I say, I know, like Miss Lisa, you know what she do, what I find her doing? Like, she'll be on the porch and she'll be listening to gospel. And I ask her, I call her Mumu. I say, Mumu, did you ever think that you would be in this point in your life? And she say, no, ma'am. She said, Mom, I never thought I would be here in my life.
And the truth of it is, a lot of people don't understand, and I'm going to interject here, Marie, if it's okay.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
A lot of people don't understand that a lot of persons that are addicted don't want to be that way. They think people are doing it just because they want to. But Miss Lisa had said that, and I thought about the root cause of our alcoholism, of our addiction, that thing that drove us, you know, and us not even understanding it either. But there was something that was activated once we put in. That's what made us different than anybody else that's drinking or that's smoking marijuana or whatever their choices are, right? That does recreationally, right? Because drugs isn't a bad thing as long as you don't do what we did, right? Because there are people that's snorting cocaine, that's popping pills, that's drinking, that's eating brownies and gummies and go out to Colorado and do things and come back in like a girl's trip out, like nothing has happened, and gone with their lives and their careers.
That's
And merge
true.
right back in their families and households like nothing has never happened. But unfortunately,
That's
we
true.
weren't those people. However, we were punished for it, you know, and she has no earthly idea of how to shake it. And what it sounds
Right.
like to her, especially if she's induced, and especially if that pain is happening, what it sounds like to her is that you're criticizing her. And it
Wow.
reinforces whatever the things are that's in her head already. It only,
Wow.
and her defense mechanism is to reject you, right? Even though you love her. But it's like she can't draw to you as much as she wants because it doesn't sound that way. Because she's already beating herself up anyway. You said, would you have ever thought that your life would be this way? No one thinks that they wake up one morning and say, you know what, I think I'm just tear my life up. And I'm going to hurt everybody
Right.
I care about and all of this. But there's a lot of shame that comes with that and everything. But most importantly, there's a lot of pain. And so, you know, and I'm a firm believer with Lisa is that, for one, you have to love her unconditionally. And that doesn't mean enable.
That's right.
That means I love you. That means that they need to hear the sound of that. And I hate that this is going on. But what mama can't do is hurt you even the more by doing this or that, or whatever it is, right? But I love
Right.
you to hear that, right? And have your boundaries, right? Because you don't want to see them hurting, and you don't want to cause them hurt either. You know,
Right.
so it's hard.
I
It's
like
very
that.
hard.
And one of the things I can say, as a mom with a child in addiction, is I was consistent. I am consistent. I am the same no matter what. No matter what. No matter what you use and fell out and been gone on your tangent for 3 days, I'm still consistent. I'm still going to say the same thing. I'm still going to act the same way. Because it's what
Right.
you're looking for, somebody who done changed and is different and is making it. It gives them hope inside, whether they do it right then or there or later.
Mhm.
You know, it's just being consistent of who you as a parent. You know,
Right.
you know, it was times my son would call me through the night and I would just talk to him. He just calling me was faith, because he know where I stand. He know who I am, but that part of him want to change. But it's another
Right.
part of him is overpower him. And I know that when I call back, once he hang up, I wasn't going to hear from him no more. I knew that. So it only drove me to pray, because ain't nothing that I could do. 6 days a week later, he called me, hey, mama. I act like nothing happened. I just badgered him, you know what I'm saying? And one day I said, I've been home 8 years now, and you doing the same old thing. I said, look at me. Look at me. And you can do it. It's possible. You know? And I go on, and he done stole from me. He done did all kinds of things against me. But I had my boundaries. You can't be in my house without me. Simple as that. I don't care what you say, how you say it.
Yes, ma'am.
You can't drive my car, because I know that those are the things that what you use to get drugs. Those are the things that you're going to do, but you're not going to mean to do it. But I know better, so I won't put myself in that position to hand that over to you and let you damage it. No, you can't drive my car. No, you can't have this. No, yes, you can do this. Yes, you can do that. You know, and my consistency, now I'm looking back, he is changing. He's not on drugs now. You know, he used to borrow money all the time, because I let him borrow. You don't know that's his own money. I'm letting him borrow, but that's the catch.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't give all of this money. I just gave him a part of it. You see? And now I don't tell him you need to say. I said, this is what I do. This is how I say when I want something, this business. All of a sudden, he asking me to borrow no money. He telling me he's saving money, and he'll try to use my credit card. He said, no. I get my own. He get his own credit cards and stuff like that, because he see that somebody else done went before that, and not putting him down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not making him, like Dina said, making him feel even the worse. You know.
Yes, ma'am.
Worse. But I'm telling you, just hold on. It's coming.
Yes, ma'am.
It's coming. But see, you got to also realize things happen not just about, it's not really just all about him. It can be about you too. It might be some things that you need to change on. You see what I'm saying?
I never look at it like that, Miss Lisa.
Because we always look at the other person. Because I got another son, and his death, almost death, gave me life.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? But that was a bad thing. But God knew that that's the only reason I was living is for my sons. So when that happened to my son, I had a wake-up call.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't about him. It was about me and his dad. We both changed.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So don't never look at something bad as a negative thing. See the positive thing and what God wants you to do in that. It's a reason that he allowed this to come into your household.
Wow.
But some people is so hurt and so mad and they can't see that God is moving in the midst. They looking.
I like that.
In the midst of it. Because when you believe like that, it opens the door for faith for you to receive what is yours when the enemy cannot take it because he already said it. Some moms give up.
Yeah.
Like you said, I don't want my baby to die. That my baby ain't gonna die. That you get to talk to that principle that's supposed to be yours in the atmosphere and bring it into your home, like your daughter in your home. That's what I do. You see what I'm saying? And I said, you're not gonna have my peace. You're not gonna have my son. My son been in the hospital almost dead. Paralyzed. You hear me from it?
Yes, ma'am.
Went to that hospital rubbing and praying. Talking to her right there 100%. Knowing that it was. I was acting like it wasn't nothing, baby. I was praying and praying. He couldn't walk. Tell me like this. All this was gone. You hear me? Now he working, he walking and everything. You hear me?
Amen.
And now him and his wife and child are doing Bible studies together. I didn't tell them they need to do that. But God dealt with him and his wife. So I'm just telling you, just hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
Speak life to her. Because when I was in prison, I used to say, hey, son, man of God, man of wisdom, man of faith. That's how I used to address the top of his letter. Man of wisdom, smart. I knew he was out there in them streets.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Because I did not need that to tell him. I need it for my faith. Because I need to see my son as what those words I was putting there. Not to see him, he on the street who can kill him, he in the gangs. That was my worst fear that he was in the game. And it happened. But God kept him. See, we don't see the part that, see, the fear is there, but it's faith that God gonna keep him. Now,
I love that.
Why her son had to die, I don't know that. I don't know that. That's not my area to say. But I know for me, in my household.
Come on now.
We're going to serve the Lord. And serving the Lord is just having a relationship. It ain't got nothing to do with it. I got a long dress. I got a girdle that got tight on me, stockings. It don't mean none of that. It's just mean a relationship.
That's right.
With a high power that who can help me to live life on life term. So I can be that parent that I need to be when my child get ready to be a child to receive my parenting. I
love that. Miss Lisa, tonight we, ladies and gentlemen who are listening to the show tonight, is changing the narrative on incarceration to incorporate. Miss Lisa Gus just gave me some amazing advice. I really, really appreciate it for those parents who have loved ones, who children, grown adult children are on drugs, and you see that there's no end. Just know, like Miss Lisa Gus say, it is always a higher power. You can always go to the source, which is God. You don't have to run around. You don't have to do none of that. You can just, the Bible says you can get on your bended knee. You can get on your bended knee, Miss Lisa, and we can pray. And so I just wanted to ask you that. And so, Miss Lisa, as changing the narrative as you came and you was a part of OAA, what is your what else do you do?
Well, I work at Impact Family Counseling. I am a case manager. I love what I do. It's amazing how Dina is. She's so awesome. I don't even know how awesome she was. She was preparing me for the job way before I got the job. And I didn't know that I was preparing for the job, but she was just showing me how to case manage, and I really didn't know how to case manage. But anyway, I'm a case manager, been there 5 years. Love it, love it, love it. I've been home 13 years, so I worked at Taco Bell. But, you know, Taco Bell was my intro into the corporation. You know,
Oh, I know that's right.
so because it taught me how to deal with some people on life term. I hear that I hadn't dealt with the only ones in there. So see, I had a double nugget. I can deal with them on the outside now, and I can deal with them if they come from the inside to the outside.
Exactly.
So I realized I wasn't at Taco Bell just to work. I was at Taco Bell to learn and to help others too.
I like that. That's the process.
That's a process. Exactly. That's a process. So not only that, I work for Offender Alumni Association. I work as a family engagement director. And that's what I do on my job. I work with parents.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is try to help them see a new life. Like a new life gave to me through OA, gave me a second chance. And also, I've been ordained as a pastor. And not only ordained as a pastor, see, little did I know I was a pastor from the beginning. It ain't had nothing to do with me coming out here and getting ordained. I was ordained in prison.
Amen.
Because I had to change in prison. And see, that's what a pastor do. He gets saved and change his life. And then he begin to help others. See, I was doing it on the inside. So the pastorship don't mean that I got to be in a congregation, on a pulpit. You know what I'm saying? My pulpit is dealing with people, period, out here.
But guess what, Miss Lisa, may I interject for a second? I like what you said. It reminded me of Joseph when his brothers then put him in the pit. But he had to go down in the pit, Miss Lisa, because he had to get to Pharaoh's house, because God knew that there was going to be a famine in the land, right? So pit, palace, and purpose, it all goes together. You understand? And you do such a phenomenal job with it, just encouraging me tonight. And you just didn't encourage me. I'm quite sure there's other men and women that are on here that are listening. I love what you say and how God set things up. We don't have to be behind the pulpit. The congregation, you know what the congregation is, Miss Lisa, for you? It's the world. It's the people that you encounter. It's the people that you help. It's the people that you smile. It's the people that you listen to, that you help encourage. That is your congregation. You understand? You don't have to be behind on top of a pulpit to get the message done. And I just love that. That's all I want to say. You can go ahead and continue, Miss Lisa.
So like I said, I work on both sides. And what's so cool about it, the organization is in the building that I work for. So I get to catch them at the door. You know what I'm saying? I get to catch them. I may be in here, and the Spirit of God said, get up, and I walk, and then somebody from OAA just got out of prison. I give them a hug or encourage them or something. Not only that, what I do is I love children. I love children. And
me
children.
Too.
Children take to me, but I realize just because I love children doesn't mean that's what God wants me to work with.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? A lot of people have to realize that. But I realize that it's okay for me to drop a nugget with a child and come up out of there. It ain't for me to stay there. You see what I'm saying? But what he do to have me dealing with adult children. That's who I deal with, adult children. That's why the love for children is there, because they still a child on the inside.
That's right.
When trauma happened in their life, they stop growing. So
they're at that age, the trauma, because I've had trauma in my life. So sometimes I find myself wanting to be that 12-year-old Marie, and because that's where the trauma, when it happened, you understand? So I always say, if you don't take and deal with the trauma when it happens, it grows up with you as an adult.
Yes.
And so I like that. That's good. Go ahead, Miss Lisa.
You see, a lot of people don't realize that they have to go back and to tell that little girl or that little boy, I'm sorry, I left you just like everybody else left you. I forgot about you too, because that's an important part, because you got to apologize. You got to tell that little girl or boy, you're sorry, because it needs you to validate for it to grow into the man or woman that it needs to. So once that person hears they're sorry, and once that person receives that, they are open for the change.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? That's when the change can come, and they can set it in them. And then you see that child, that boy or girl, growing from the inside out. And then you want to know why that person's so strong, and how come that person missing? How come? Because what it did, it illuminate from the in to the out.
Yeah.
That's what we were created to be. God didn't come down as a person to me. He came from the inside of me to the outside of me. Because he said he had to be born again. So I had to receive him and then allow the knowledge from others and word and music and people, places, and things that are going where I'm going to illuminate what's already been in there, and then I begin to grow.
That's right.
For growing, I have to deal with what's come up, because when that little girl or that little boy got hurt, it still have to deal with the people that hurt them.
That's right.
You have to go in there front of their face. You still have to say, "You hurt me, and I did this because of that." You have to be honest with yourself.
Right.
I started being mean to my mom. Why, Lisa, you was mean to your mom? Because I heard my mom told my dad to get out and never to come back, because you took something away that was mine and I love. But she didn't take it away. What she was doing was she was being wise, but I didn't know that as a little girl. So I had to go back and deal with that.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And another example, when my dad had left and went with the woman, I heard my sister and their brother and them say, he handpicked, she don't want him talking to her, she don't want him calling her. So I grew hate in my heart for this woman.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Based on what my sister and them was saying. I didn't know to feel like that. I only felt like that based on what they said. So when it was time for me to encounter this woman, I couldn't even pray, because I had hate in my heart for her. I couldn't call her my sister in Christ because I had hate in my heart. So I had to deal with that. So I ended up crying and calling out, "Lord, forgive me for having this." And once I did do that, I was able to call her my sister in Christ.
Very
but I couldn't do that. See, I had to go back and deal with that. And a lot of people have not dealt with that, so it's still a small. You look big, you look fine, you sexy, you look good, you put on some clothes, you look tight. That's my grandson, you dope. You know what I'm saying? But really on the inside, you tore her from the floor.
Exactly. And I like that, Miss Lisa. So I want to speak to the young men and the women. Again, this is about changing the narrative. So it starts with you got to deal with the inside. It's not about the outside. What's in the inside is going to come out, because the Bible said what's in the heart of man, it comes out, right? So you have to take and deal with what's on the inside of you. Those that are sitting in incarceration right now, those that is in the prison system. This is a women's month. March is for the women, but I understand that there are men and many men that are incarcerated. I'm speaking to you also. You have to take and heal yourself. We got to change the narrative. It starts in the mind also, how you think about yourself. We can put up a front and say, "Oh, I'm how they say, I'm Gucci." They use their words, "I'm Gucci, I'm cool, ain't nothing wrong with me." But when you get in the dark by yourself, what is going on with you. So it's about changing the narrative, changing your mind, changing the way you think about yourself. And let's heal that little boy, that little girl that is inside of us. Ms. Lisa, go ahead and finish.
Now, you said something. I'm Gucci. See, I hated the woman I became.
Yeah.
See, I was a little girl, and I became something that I hated. So if you hate something, you're not going to take care of good. You're going to dress it on the outside to look and appear to people. But in the inside, you got low self-esteem, you fear rejection, fear of man, fear of enemy. I got all this stuff going on. So you don't value yourself.
That's it.
In your life, you'll let a man do what he do, whether man or woman. These days, whatever your preference, no judgment here. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And you allow things to happen to you that you shouldn't allow to happen. You let people step on you and treat you any kind of way. But once you learn who you are and whom you are, you won't let that happen. You'll value yourself. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about values. Now today, I value myself. No anybody and anything can come in my life. I can see it now because I'm able to see, because I value myself. So when you come with some values messed up, man, I'm going on front you head on. So ain't no sense us wasting no time with each other. I'm grown now. I done grown up. I'm that adult now. I'm saying, hey, if you can't bring this to the table, you might as well go eat at somebody else's table, because ain't no food for you here. This food too rich for you to eat over here. You have to be honest with them. This is time for break. Oh, that's Dina.
No, that's Dina coming back in.
The narrative to change, you have to change your value and your worth and who you are in order for you to change. For order for you to change, then you won't accept anything anymore.
Girl, I've been listening to y'all.
And I'll take it.
You on fire now. That's it.
The unworthiness I feel for myself. You see what I'm saying? But
And you know what? A lot of people believe that they're gonna be lonely. You know what I'm saying? You know, for one, insecurity is a trick of the enemy. You know, me being insecure. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It keeps me farther and farther away from who I am and who I was created to be and what I was created to do. And it's based on, I'm judging myself based on what others may be saying or what I may think they're feeling or perceive them as feeling. You know, nothing but a trick. I like what Miss Lisa said. Thank you for that nugget.
Miss Lisa, I tell you, and then your role as a counselor. Look, all that roll up in each other. Now look at the change of the narrative part. You did the 25 years. See, that was preparation. You know who you remind me of, Miss Lisa? You remind me of Queen Esther.
And you talk about her.
And you remember when Queen Esther, she had preparation. She had to get preparation to go into the king. So look, God was preparing you. And what seemed bad was not bad. What seemed, because it was a setup from the beginning for you to come out and be this awesome woman that you are. You understand? A lot of women need to hear that. They need to hear you. It's a lot. Insecurity. I have seen women who drive Mercedes Benz and they say, Marie, guess what, girl? I won't tell nobody this, but I'm insecure about this, that, or that about myself. But it's a reason why. Like you say, it starts with that little girl, that little boy that is with you. So I would say, for those that are listening to the sounds of our voice, and we're talking about changing the narrative. Changing the narrative is changing the way you think, changing the way you see yourself, healing that young man and that young lady that is within you. I love that. And guess what? While you're in prison, make preparation, because one day you're going to be free. Prepare yourself for the time when it's time to come out and do what it is that you have to do for you. So, Miss Lisa, like when you came home, when I came home, seemed like I was prison, home, mama. That's it. Back to just being, look, I didn't have time to think about saying I need some counseling, because I feel like when you come home from prison, a lot of us need counseling. A lot of us need somebody to talk to, somebody that's not going to be and saying, oh, you did that, or you this or that, and judge you. Do you understand? A lot of us just need a listening ear, for someone to listen and to understand, not to have a pity party, because you don't allow a person to stay there. I used to like to have a pity party where, woe is me, but guess what? I like that, Miss Lisa, what you said. You have to come out of all of that. It's better. It's so much better when you heal that person that's within. It is so much better. I'm telling you, changing the narrative. You have to change the way you see yourself. Like Dina, like when I first met her, and she told me that the time that I said, there is no way. And I'm talking about, she is really awesome, y'all. Like, seriously, she really is. I'm not just saying this just to say this. I'm serious. Dina is awesome. And like, she is compassionate about what she does for people. And I'm gonna tell you something. My grandmother used to say, she said that when you meet a genuine person, she said, you better appreciate people like that. She said, because it's very rare that you find people that's genuine. And that's how I feel about Dina. Dina is like, come on, Marie, we're going to get this and we're going to do that. And I'm like, she's like, come on, you got to do it. And I like when she said this. I like when Dina said, when I first met her, she was telling me her story, and she said, and God winked. And I think about her at times when I'm going through something, and I say, God, I can hear Dina say, and Marie, and he winked. That means that he's doing something. So people, change the narrative about yourself. Like Miss Lisa and Miss Dina, I'm going to give y'all the opportunity, because we are winding down. It's almost time for the show to come to an end. But I want you all to tell me, what would you say to a young man or to a young lady to encourage them? Miss Lisa.
Okay, what I would say is, make a decision within yourself that you're going to change the narrative around you. First, start with yourself. Don't try to change your children. Don't try to change your mother. Don't try to change your circumstance. Change you. And when you change you, your circumstance will change, and everything around you will follow, because that's what you're created to do from the beginning. You have to change the narrative. No one else. It starts with you.
I love that. Dina?
I chime her, oftentimes we do make it about someone else when it really needs to be about us because we are the ones that we're forever present with ourselves. I think being incarcerated showed us the things that we can control and the things that we cannot. And oftentimes in my journey forward, if I want to take off my top layer of my shirt to show my Supergirl up under the bottom of it, God has had to whisper to me that these people were okay when you were gone, regardless of what they were going through, because everyone has their go through. And I've learned through my own go through is that I didn't stay there. My go through was for me to get to. But the biggest things I had to go through was self. All of those lies I had told myself, all of those things I had come to believe, all of those false narratives that continued to play, those things that plagued me, those things that made me feel inadequate, all of these things. But once I found out who I was, and a lady told me that, she said, before the end of this weekend, you would know, because that was just a question. From the start of my process, it was like, who am I? I don't know where that question came from, but just sitting still and meditating, and they said, well, what's the first thing on your mind? I said, well, just want to know who am I? Like out of nowhere, and I think that was the thing in the quest that I was on. And I ended up finding out who I was. And I was someone that was wonderfully and fearfully made. That I was created in an image and in a design uniquely, just me. And I had to fall in love with that person, with everything about me. And I fell in love with the fact that something had thought enough of me to make me exactly who I was. And if that thing had approved of me, then nothing else really mattered. And then I quest at that point, what was I made for? And yes, people, and I look back over my life, a lot of the things that I had done, and a lot of the benefits that so many other people had reaped from my labor, whether it was good or bad. And the thing was, what are you going to get? Because the truth of the matter is, you're going to be okay, but you want to be okay for somebody else. And it's just time for you to be okay for you, because if they've always reaped from your labor, they will still continue to reap, where you reap. You see what I'm saying? And not in a way that was selfish and self-centered, but in a way that you can start the healing process that was totally necessary for you. Because I read somewhere that I've hurt quite a few people, but most of all, I had hurt myself. And to be able to look in the mirror and say, girl, I'm so sorry. I love you. And going forward, understanding that I loved her. And understanding that, yes, I will make the best choices and decisions for you. And in time, people have come along and some have not, But that's where I lean out to my own understanding, and I trust in a being that's greater than myself. And because so much has been given to me, so much is truly required of me. And I just live in a way that's principle-led, not in a way that's zealous. I don't have to beat you up with the 23rd son. I don't have to do all of that. And it starts at home, as the elders used to say when I was growing up, and it spreads abroad. Oftentimes when we're on the inside, we say we don't want to do our time outside and inside too. We say, our time is about everybody else and everything else. But it's time for you to invest in yourself, right? And now is a time that you will never have again. You will never have a time that you can solely and completely just see about you.
That's right.
Because we're living in a broken and a hurt nation. And hurt people. But it's a brave and a courageous journey to go back in there and meet that little girl or that little boy. But know that you are so much worth it. You are worth going in there and taking care of that person.
I love
you
that.
Are. And so, that's just what I would leave them. And know that freedom is waiting on you. It is. Right?
It really
but
is.
Don't be released from that incarceration only to be incarcerated yet again. Yeah, don't do that. And so you have to seek ye first. You have to seek ye first. I don't know what your ye is, but seek ye first and lay still. You know, it ain't about playing cards. It ain't about, you know, walking on the yard and befriending people and making soups and stuff. It is about what it is that I need to get before I exit this door, you know. And you can't come out here trying to save the world and lose yourself again. So that's what I have to say.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa, and thank you so much, Dina. I know that is encouraging. I remember when I was incarcerated, and I was at Pulaski State, and I remember being incarcerated, and I met so many fabulous, so many amazing women. And I'm talking about women who, I remember one woman, she said, Maria, I have a life sentence, and she told me she had a license because her husband used to beat her, and her husband's life got lost because he was beating her, right? And so she said, Maria, I have a license. She said, but you know what, Marie, you know, she pray all the time. And I felt, she said, self-defense law, I guess it wasn't like stand your ground. It wasn't required for her. And she was trying to get appeals and things like that, Dina. But I know it is a lot of women that are incarcerated. I have spoken to several women that are incarcerated just for that cause, trying to defend themselves. But one that really stuck to me, Miss Lisa, it was this 18-year-old young lady, and she came there, and she went to her sister boyfriend house with her sister, and the sister and the boyfriend went to the store. So the sister boyfriend raped her, and she shot him, and she killed him, and they gave that baby 50 years. And it's just, you know, we have to change the narrative and change policies and get those things done, because things like that I feel like really should be looked at, Dina. I just like to encourage the women and the men.
Now hold on, because they looking at 213 years on the line.
Yeah.
And what we've come to understand is that he's no respecter person. See, what you see today is the only thing that you can see, and whatever that's behind you. You understand? The only way you can see what's in front of you is a hope. It's a faith. It is something that's totally beyond you. That's what we did. You know, we saw outside the door.
Yeah.
You know, we saw that. So we knew that what we need to be doing in the meantime. And then we read something that said that I know the plans and the purpose that I have for you. A plan to prosper and a plan to an expected end. But what we did not read before we read that was what happened before that. That I have caused you to go into a place. And what I need you to do while you are there is plant some things.
Yeah.
Is cultivate some things. Is to bring forth, to give birth to some things. You see what I'm saying? So with all of that being said, I'm not here just to be here, but as long as I can focus on my pain and on I can't believe I'm still here and all of that, I will not look toward the mark.
That's right.
Or the high calling. You see what I'm saying? I'm here for something. My circumstances may be challenging, you know what I'm saying? But in order for him to do what is possible for him to do, you have to reside in a place that may seem impossible. Yeah, they didn't think we was going to get out. They definitely didn't think we would be doing the stuff that we're doing now.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so that is the thing. Maybe you need to be the ones that are researching and learning how to write certain things in order to challenge legislators on behalf of persons that are across this nation as well as the country. You understand what I'm saying? Because we say slavery and oppression has a different face to it. But as long as the scales are imbalanced, meaning that we have, you know, that many women on legislative and governmental spaces that can change things, and that many men, then naturally the scale is going to always tip to what? I mean, it's real simple, you know, it's real simple. And so they have the time to research how many domestic cases happen. Well, male factors have been the persons that have taken the life of a female. You know, and if so, it wasn't something that was ongoing in a repetitive. And this is not to justify anything, because we
Oh,
do know whatever you plant, so you should bring a harvest. You know, we're not
right.
saying that, but what we are saying is that in order for things to change, people have to push for change, and the only
Exactly.
people that can push for change is those where change will affect. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, there are some things that you all can speak to that no one else can,
Right.
because I only have an opinion. Yeah, we
Right.
have an opinion about how a woman can stay in a marriage for the sake of her children, if nothing else, and
That's
how she
right.
can stay in a marriage for the sake of her belief system, because
Mm-hmm.
she believes that you shouldn't get a divorce. And so I would take this torment and I will hold my mouth when someone is beating me, so that my children won't hear me cry at night. Right. That I've taken it so long that I've taught myself how not to cry.
Right.
Right. You know, those kind of things. See, they don't hear that part. You know what I'm saying? And that at the end of the day, the only rationale that can come forth with the pain that I have experienced is to end. This is going to be two things: either end my own life, you know, or whatever. So you just don't know what actually guides or drives a person decision making, you know.
Right.
So we will go to do something as harsh as that. You know, now it's domestic violence until something happens and then someone has lost their life, you know.
Right.
So we and this is something that's been a topic, you know, but we're gonna have to move it from just being a topic of conversation and actually being something, you know.
And actually doing
But
something
if we
about
don't
it.
stand for it, we're gonna fall for it. If we're gonna fall for the things that has happened to us and hold it against us, you know, and that's just, and it's a controversial conversation. You know, no one wants to talk about things that you know moves us in a way. You know, we want to act like it's not happening, or keep it quiet, or you
Or
know,
keep it
let it
hush
just be
hush.
yeah, keep it on the marquee. You know, and that's
Mm-hmm.
not fair. It's not fair.
Well,
But
we
you know.
ladies, is the show is we got like 2 minutes. So you want to say something, Miss Lisa, before
no,
we
I was looking at our time.
okay, we got 2 minutes, and I'm about to go ahead. This is Marie, and I thank you, Miss Lisa, and I thank you, Miss Dina, for coming on the show tonight, talking about changing the narrative. I want you all to have an amazing night. Do whatever it is that makes you happy, as long as you're not hurting anyone, and for God's sake, do not hurt yourself. Thank y'all so much, ladies. Until next time,
All
bye.
right. All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, bye, y'all.
like that.